Okay, everyone. Okay, I'm recording this video on 2 cameras, on Facebook Live and IG Live. I hope you all are doing well. It's Makeda Valera. Today I'm going to do a video about Nani eggs. I've done several of them over the years. If you've been following me for years, I'm sure you've seen several of them. And if you haven't, you can see them on my YouTube pages. The Body Scientist 81 and the Renaissance Amazon. So Nani eggs, in case you are unfamiliar, they are crystal and stone eggs that women work with internally to strengthen their pelvic floor, get more control of their vaginal muscles, and increase, sensitivity and sexual energy and stuff like that. So there's a lot of, I like to put women in groups and share, because I feel like we learn a lot. We learn the most when it comes to this mystical egg practice when we are in the presence of other women and we have conversations, because you start to see, like, there's so many things and effects that can happen with it. But today I want to talk about the consequences and side effects that can happen to working with eggs, right? When working with eggs. So one thing is that working with Nani eggs really increases your sensitivity and your sexual energy. So women who have had orgasmic problems, I've seen so many women who have problems having orgasms, working with the eggs really help. Now, a woman could just put the egg in and do nothing, and she'll still see benefits from it. But doing actual focused contractions is what, doing actual focused contractions is how the woman gets more control, not just strong muscles, but control over the muscles. And because when we orgasm, our vaginal muscles naturally contract when we orgasm, right? So as women, if we contract our vaginal muscles on our own, then it builds up sexual energy in us, right? So whether it be solo, like you have the egg in and you're squeezing and you're contracting, it builds up energy in you, and it will increase your libido. So I've seen women who've had babies that don't feel sexual at all, don't want to have sex with their partner at all, don't want to be touched, and they start working with the egg, and it increases their sexual energy and brings their libido back. But the flip side, what I've also seen happen is some women start working with the egg, they start working on themselves, they start cultivating their energy, and their sexual energy goes through the roof, and then the man that they're with can't keep up. So, and that's why it's really good to, as a woman, if you're fortunate enough, which a lot of people aren't, to be in a relationship with a man who focuses on cultivating that energy too, and then you have someone to cultivate with, but a lot of people don't have that. And I've seen that even when I worked with men with stuff, because I also teach men, and I've had experiences teaching men where they had an issue with cultivating in their practice because the woman they're with didn't understand certain things or whatever. But a lot of times when I've seen this continuously, the woman's sexual energy goes through the roof, the man can't keep up, and it's like the sexual frustration situation. So that's one of the consequences that can happen with the egg. I'm just going to tell you that. Another thing, and it makes a woman super orgasmic, and women are multi-orgasmic, meaning that we can have orgasm after orgasm after orgasm after orgasm. I've known some men like that. They maybe can have 2-3 orgasms, but extremely rare. Most men are just done, and women can keep going. And the egg definitely taps into that. So that can be an issue. I've also seen, I remember when I went to Costa Rica in 2010, I went there about 4 times just to teach Costa Rican women. It wasn't even, I didn't go there with a group of Americans, like we're gonna have a Costa Rican retreat with a bunch of Americans. No, I went to Costa Rica, it was organized by Costa Rican women, by the people, for the people, guerrilla organization, right? Back in 2010. And I remember when I went to the Caribbean side of the country, I went there like 3 different times. I remember going there to teach, and these women, they had this crazy energy, like really warrior energy, which I wasn't expecting in the Caribbean side of the country. And they were just telling me, oh, we were waiting for you, this is what we needed. And then I remember when I came back a year later, like damn near all of them had left their husbands. They all had left their husbands. And it wasn't about, it was because they were in bad relationships, like something was wrong with the relationship. There was those women started to see that, and they had the strength to walk away from that. I've seen that a lot in this practice too. And a few times I've seen women who are with men who are jealous of the egg, which is really fucking weird. Like that to me is a huge red flag. If you're with a man who's jealous of you working with a Nani egg and wants to hide it from you or throw it out, because I've seen that happen too, that makes no sense. Because any man that's with a woman that's working with that should be happy. That should be with a woman who is trying to make herself better and is working on herself, especially her vaginal muscles, her pelvic floor, which is helpful to her, but it's also helpful to you. Like, or why would you be upset with anybody for doing something to try to make themselves better and stronger and more connected. It doesn't make sense. So to me, that says a lot about that man. And I've known women who start working with eggs and starts to see those things, you know, and had the strength to walk away, got empowered, and maybe before they would not have. Okay, now there are different sizes, and it's good to work with different sizes. And I have a video where I talk about sizes, but since a lot of people missed that, I'm just going to briefly show you. Like, when I first started working with eggs, there were only jade and there were only medium size. I would say that both of these are medium. This is a golden tiger's eye obsidian. I would say these are both mediums, even though this one is fatter than this one, right? This one is thinner. I define it by the length, so about 1.5 inches is a medium. When I first started working with them, they were all mediums, all drilled, which means they have a hole through it, all jade. I started working with different crystals and stones of my own, and didn't work with drilled ones because I wasn't afraid of getting stuck. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look at my other videos. And then this is what I would consider a large egg, which is about 2 inches in length, and it can vary in diameter, right? So this is large, this is a medium, or large and medium. Now, some people will call this a small. I do not call this a small. To me, a small Nani egg is about half of this. Like if you divide it, like from my pinky down, you know, like if you removed this part, like if you split this thing in half and maybe a little bit less than half, that's what I consider a small Nani egg. And I actually teach exercises in my classes. Working with the small one, I have a YouTube video talking about working with small Nani eggs. That is a super advanced thing. And it doesn't have to do with tightening as much as it does with fine-tuning your control and sensitivity. And these are the things that I teach in my classes. And I'm in the process of developing new classes because my last classes that I developed was a few years ago, and I think it's time to do it over. So I will be starting new classes. But when the exercises that I teach actually teach women to actually tap in and get control, rhythmic control. When you just put the egg in and you wear it, yes, it helps you become stronger. It helps work your muscles and do a lot of things. You will become more aware. But when you start to consciously contract and say, because you know, your vaginal muscles, like if these are my vaginal walls, they can go left and right. They can go front and back. They can do clapping like this. They can do clapping like this. They can go up and down. They can do any kind of variations of that. Once a woman has really good control, let's say she has 2 eggs in, you know, like this egg, she could be doing this with her vaginal muscles, and this egg, she could be doing that. You know, you could be clanking them together once you get that type of control, this rhythmic control. And it builds up so much sexual energy in you that sometimes you feel like you are going to lose your mind. And I have heard every woman say that. Unfortunately, in the male sacred sexual practices, the male sacred sexual practices are about building up all this energy and not letting it go. You know, building it all up and cultivating it and not losing it, not just letting it go. The female sacred sexual practice is about building up this energy, and then you can release it as much as you want, because for women, the more we release, the better. It's actually good for our brain and our health. And you see this in ancient art. I talk about the ancient art, the ancient shigonigigs, the ancient art all over the world where you have women with their legs wide open. That's a position of power for us. It's the patriarchal religion that perverted that. I made that, the woman sitting there with her legs wide open, she wants to be fucked or she wants to be raped, and I have the right to go rape her, and I have the right to go, no. Because guess what? Imagine a world where women, you know, dudes be sitting, you know, spreading their legs wide on the train and shit. Imagine if women did that shit. Imagine if we had on skirts, no panties, and sat everywhere with our legs wide the fuck open, but we were armed with knives, guns, and pit bulls, okay? So we knew how to handle weapons, okay? And we had pit bulls around us that if you even try to come over here and violate, your ass would get bitten off. That would be dope, because then women could sit in their powerful position and not have to worry about any men violating. And the men would be a bit subdued, because if men had to look at nannies all day, women just sitting how they want, dudes would be mesmerized and stuck on stupid, because that's how men are. Men see things, and men have a hard time continuing to do what they're doing as they're seeing this thing that has turned them on, which the male sacred sexual practice is about, being able to do just that. Being able to deal with serious stimulus that you're seeing, feeling, whatever, and not lose it. That's what the male sacred sexual practice is about. Now, if women just, you know, walked around topless, legs wide open with no panties, and those women knew they couldn't be violated because they had all kinds of protection around them, namely a vicious dog that will attack you, then dudes just have to look and be subdued and chill the fuck out because you can't touch and you can't think about touching. So what the fuck else are you gonna do? But sit there and be hypnotized, right? So that's pussy power. That's really what that is. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, we don't live in that kind of world. Now, adding on to the size of eggs. This is an extra large egg. Now, I don't talk about this. I really maybe talked about this in my classes a couple times. This extra large egg, right? Super huge. Now, this is a large one that I just showed you. Now, this is the, see how much bigger this is? This is the large and the medium. Now, I don't recommend working with this often. This is also super advanced, super advanced. And the way I got this egg was, this was given to me as a gift. When I came back from Costa Rica, actually, in 2010, there was a woman, an older woman in Atlanta. I actually stopped in Atlanta because there was a woman I had like kind of fallen in love with at the time. So I went to go visit her, and she had an elder female friend who gave us both crystal eggs. And she told us, was it this one? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't this one. Maybe it was another one like this. But all I know is that she told us to exchange it every time we see each other. And it was this back in 2010. I remember one day, and I never intended on putting this inside of me. And then one day I was like super duper 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 horny. And I remember I was in a relationship at the time. I was looking at my dude, he was asleep, and I was like, oh, I'm so horny. So, you know, the hornier a woman gets, the more we open up our vaginal muscles, our vaginal canal lengthens. And so I would never try to insert this if I wasn't super horny. But I was super aroused at the time. And so I inserted it, and you could just feel the weight in the stretch. And so I just kept it in there for a little bit, and then I released it. Which, letting go of the egg, a lot of women say it's like, they call it birthing the egg, and it is a lot like giving birth. Because when you are giving birth, the woman has to learn how to open up and relax, you know? When a woman's in a lot of pain, or when people are in a lot of pain, it's natural to tense up. But in labor, a woman has to focus on opening up, surrender, open up, surrender and open up. I feel like birth teaches, it has a lot of lessons about life, you know? We cannot control everything. We can try our best, but we cannot control everything. You don't always know what the outcome is going to be, and birth is the perfect example of that. But in birth, the muscles, you know, everything is opening, and it's the same hormones that are flushed through our body during orgasm are also flushed through our body in labor. And that's why, you know, some women, if they have a partner they're close to, it's good to combine intimacy in labor because it helps women to open up even more. But being able to open up and let, it's like you're not really pushing, you're opening up, and it's a slight, like the vaginal muscles can work in waves. So the vaginal muscles can work in waves to suck things up, or can work in waves to let something release. And that's what I feel like working with the super large one taught me. When I was in and I haven't worked with this in a long time, and it hasn't been often, just a couple times. But in my Nani Egg meetup that is had in Brooklyn, there was a girl who has taken my class in the past, and I've known her for years, and she was talking about how she had done that on her own and how it was like birthing the egg, you know. And so it really is. So I feel like, you know, working with these are really good to help a woman prepare for labor and to recover, you know. And just because you worked with something like this doesn't mean, a lot of people think, oh, it's going to stretch your vaginal muscles out. No, it's not, because our vaginal muscles are elastic. My vaginal muscles are elastic, meaning if something is super tight and then it goes out to here, it should be to go right back out to here. If something is this tight and it goes out to here and it can only get back to here, then it's not elastic. It's also elasticity. And we want to keep our elasticity in our skin, everything as we age. When people have skin that's all hanging, it's lost its elasticity, right? With your skin, you maintain elasticity by moisturizing. That's why I don't care how hot it is, I always moisturize. Always moisturize my skin. Because that's how, one of many ways that you can maintain, one of the most important ways to maintain elasticity in the skin. Also has to do with your diet and stuff like that. But, and with the vaginal muscles, it has a lot to do with working them. And not just Kegels where you squeeze, 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 squeeze. That's what Kegels are. That's not what I teach. I don't teach squeeze, 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 squeeze. I teach up and down, squeeze up and down. I teach left and right, front and back, clap, 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 clap. I teach all kinds of, like, how to isolate the different parts of the vaginal canal. That's what I teach, which is a lot better than just doing Kegels, okay? So yeah, I think I talked about some of the consequences to working with the eggs. Super horniness. And a lot of women, I've seen a lot of women come out of their shell and be real about what it is they want sexually, because a lot of women don't tell the truth about that. A lot of women try so much to stroke a man's ego, or they just put their own needs on the back burner. One thing I respect about men is men are a lot more proactive about going after what it is that they want and need sexually. A lot of women will accept mediocre shit and just live that life. I'm not about that life. And definitely working with the eggs helps you to not be about that life. Not me, well, a lot of women, because it just builds up so much sexual energy, you can't ignore it. And if you do, you feel miserable. Like, people talk about men having blue balls, which I believe is a real thing. I'm not a man, but if I'm wrong, tell me. I believe it is. But again, channeling that energy can help with that as men. But as women, it can cause the same thing. Now, who wants congested sexual energy? Now, you can always move that energy and move that energy. But that only works for so much. And sexual frustration can make people crazy. And so I've seen a lot of women just be brutally honest, get more sexually aggressive, just say what it is they want, go after what they want. Other consequences of working with the eggs is that the menstrual cycles a lot of times will change. A lot of women say that after like the first month of working with the egg, their next cycle is very cleansing. They would say that, not always, but I've heard often women say they feel like that cycle was different, like it might have been heavier, like it was very cleansing. Then it changed after that. A lot of menstrual cycles get lighter. A lot of cramps go away because of the increase of blood flow to that area. So there's so many things, and I talk about them in my videos. Check out my vaginal control video and all the other videos that I have talking about the Nani Eggs. You can also follow my Instagram page at Nani Eggs. And I have 2 classes coming up. My sensual strength training class in Chicago is, see, I should have these dates in front of me so bad. It's on my Instagram thing, and I don't have the dates in front of me, and I don't remember them on top of my head so bad. I'm doing this video, I've got so many things in my mind. But you'll see me post about my classes on Instagram. If you have, and Facebook, if you have any questions and you don't see it, just contact me. And you can contact me at thebodyscientist81@gmail.com, or you can contact me at nanieggs.com. It's Nani Eggs with a Z, NANIEGGZ @gmail.com. But I'm teaching a class in New York. My New York class is in January or February. I'm teaching a class in New York and Chicago. I feel like the New York class is in January and the Chicago class is in February. And I should know this, I'm sorry, but yeah, they're both coming up in the new year. And yeah, they're both coming up in the new year. Hold on a minute. I want to see if I can find it. No, I'm not going to try to find it. Just know that the classes are 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And they consist of me teaching women a variety of exercises with the eggs. And also we combine it with breast massage, we combine it with ovarian massage and energetic work. We combine it with overall strength training for the entire body, which is really important because the class is called Sensual Strength Training. I have videos about strength training. So we get into strength training, which is for the whole body, not just the vaginal muscles, but the whole body, and why that's important, how to do it correctly. And then we dance. Dances of the African diaspora that get us to connect to our hips and our center, so that we can shake off stuff, move things. That helps us with moving sexual energy, building up sexual energy, helps us in childbirth, helps us recover from childbirth, helps you just your overall fitness, helps with your blood supply, helps with getting shaken off trauma. Those are all the benefits of the dancing. That's what my class, Sensual Strength Training, is about. And so, yeah, I have them coming up in New York and Chicago. I'm always available for private classes as well when I travel, or in New York and Chicago, or anywhere else that I go to. I'm always available for private classes. And if anybody has a group, I'm available for that too. So I'm always available. Just email me and contact me about that. And so I hope this video was helpful. If you found it helpful, please share it, follow me on YouTube, and have a good day. Thanks for listening. Bye.